So yeah, guys, hi everyone. Uh, uh, so yesterday, pretty much we have saw what are the standard objects that are provided by Salesforce. So account, contact, opportunity, campaign, lead, and case. Okay, so these are called as standard objects, which are provided by Salesforce default. Okay, and yeah. So today's class, I'm going to tell what are the standard objects, what are standard fields, what are custom objects, and what are custom fields, and yeah, the things that follow these topics. Okay, so these are all some things that you need to know as a Salesforce consultant or a Salesforce resource in order to, like for example, imagine your user, he's asking for a new object and he wants some of the fields under that new object. Okay, so then you should be able to identify or be in a position to create a new object for them, or create new fields, like what and all fields they say under that object. Okay, so if at all, if they want some object already, like your client doesn't know. Yeah, even Kishore joined. Yeah, so even your client doesn't know the difference between 1 second. So yeah, so your client doesn't know what is the difference between standard object and custom object. Okay, they are going to come up with requirement like, I need these details to be captured, and let's say we can have that object as something. Okay, so you need to be in a position that these are called the standard objects. If at all, if they say something related to this one. Okay, so when I say account is going to be something related to company, organization, or business. Okay, so if at all, if they say something in that meaning, you should be able to be in a position that, okay, it comes under account, and what are all the fields that we could relate with. Okay, so account is a standard object, and if you ask me what is standard fields. Okay, so as I already told you, Salesforce by default, they provide you this standard objects. Okay, so the fields under that object. Okay, so let me yeah, let me log in and show you. Okay, so just a minute, guys. I'm logging into my developer version. So yeah, dot at. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so if you take any standard object. Okay, so I'm going to take standard object as account. This is the place where you will be able to see all the details related to this object. Okay, so what are the fields under this object? You'll be able to go to, you'll be able to see it in object manager under that particular object. Okay, so if you click on this fields and relationship, you will be able to see all the fields with the data types. Okay, so the data types is something that I will be, that is one of the important thing. Okay, so you can create a field or see if there is existing field that is already there, and if at all, if it is created by Salesforce or by us. Okay, so the simple logic which I told you yesterday, if at all, if it has double underscore c, it means that it is a field created by us. So if at all, if we don't have double underscore c, okay, which means that it is standard field which Salesforce provided. Okay, so these are the fields which are not created by us. Okay, so account side, account source. So this is all something called as standard fields. Okay, so this one called as type under double underscore c or active double underscore c. So these are all something that is being created by you. Okay, so the thing is you will not be able to delete a standard field as well. Okay, so as I already told you, you will not be able to delete a standard object. Similarly, you will not be able to edit or delete a standard field. Okay, and if you see the one which has double underscore c, you will have this option where you can edit or delete that field. Okay, so if at all if you wanted to change the field name, you can simply do that here. Okay, or if you wanted to like change, or if you wanted to delete this one, simply you can click on delete. Okay, so it's going to ask you something like this, so the field can be deleted. So this is the difference between standard field and standard sorry, custom field. Okay, so if you see the object, this is a standard object. Okay, if you see this field, this is a custom field. Okay, so you should say that we have created a custom field named account number under account. Okay, so I think yesterday I forgot to tell you one thing. Okay, so you take account. Okay, so okay, let me go to an account record. Okay, so let me go to an account record and show you how it is being done. Okay, so here if you see this one account number, you can find that account number or account name, right? Account name is also standard field. So account name is something which is there in this way, but if you see here, it's just name. Okay, so the one which you're able to see on the end user page, okay, the one which you're able to see in the user interface view, that is called as label name. Okay, but meanwhile, in Salesforce, you have something called as unique name or field name or API name. Okay, so this is something that you have to use every time when you kind of do do a query to extract records, or in order to use that in coding or even in formula fields. Okay, so you will be using this particular name. Okay, you will not be using with field label. Okay, because you might have two field labels with the same name, but if you see this, the field name that is called as the API name would be different. Okay, which means that you can also have like even another another field with the same name. Okay, doesn't matter, but always the field name should be unique. Okay, so whatever field it is, it should be having a unique field name. Okay, so if you search with this, only this field will have this particular field name. So whatever field if you search with, right, like you will have a unique name for that field. So if I take clean status, other thing is not going to have clean status. Imagine I am creating something like new field with yeah, text. Okay, which means that it input we can input text values into that. Okay, so clean status, and then I put something like this. Okay, clean yeah, and I put something like this. So I already have this API name in place. Okay, so once if I save this, I'm not going to, I mean, yeah, I got it, but yeah, just a minute. I think it has some other name, clean status. Yeah, I'll not be able to create a new field with the same API name. Okay, so this is the API name, and I'll not be able to create a new field with that. Okay, so yeah, so I'll not be able to create a new field with the same thing. Okay, so I think in account, yeah, I'm not sure why it's this way. So yeah, see, if I create this new field, right? And again, I'm going to create a new custom field with the same name. Okay. So it doesn't matter if I do the same thing with the same label name. Okay. The first one which you see is label name. Okay. So clean status. And then I put on this. Now I'll not be able to save this because I already have some field with the name uh, with the API name clean underscore status. Okay, which means that you will not be able to save until you change this name to a unique one. Okay, so now I put on one and now it will get saved. Okay, then again if I go back to, so now I went to previous page, right? Now again I take this one back, and again if I click on new next, I'll not be able to create basically because I already have this API name in place. Okay, so I already have this in fields and relationship. Okay, so this is something that you have to look out for. So if at all, if you're creating a new field, you should make sure that it has a unique API name. Okay, without which you'll not be able to create first of all. But this is one of the rule that you should follow while you create a Salesforce fields. Okay, so the difference between standard object and custom object, standard object is something that is provided by Salesforce default. Okay, so inbuiltly you're going to have those object inside Salesforce. Okay, but custom object is something that is being created by me. Okay, so that object purely I'll be able to edit it, I'll be able to delete it, or I'll be able to rename it or whatever. Okay, so I'll be able to create any fields that I wanted, or I'll be able to edit that field, rename that field label for that field, or I can also create like formula fields or anything. Okay, so it's not like only on custom field I can create yeah, I can create fields. Okay, you can also create custom fields under account object. Okay, so if you see this, yeah, so if you see this, you can create a custom field under this specific object. Okay, so if you see, I've already created some custom fields under this standard object. Okay, so whichever has this double underscore C, right? So these are all something that is being created by me. Okay, so this is not something that is being provided by Salesforce. So the fields which you see without double underscore C are something that is provided by Salesforce defaultly. Okay, but here if you see it like double underscore C, which means that I have created that field as per my requirement. Okay, so that's something you need to get into your mind. And also so if you see here, as I already told you, you will have this custom object, right? So similarly, even in object level, you have something called label name and API name. Okay, so label name, of course, you can have like 2 3 objects with same label name, or you even if you don't want it, you don't want to have it. Okay, it's not like, but this API name should be unique. Okay, so that's the thing. So if at all, if you wanted to create a new custom object under, I mean, new custom field under a custom object, you're simply going to go to that object, select fields and relationship, and click on new. Okay, so once you click on new, you will get the list of data types from which you can select. Okay, which means that the field, you know, there are like different kinds of fields. So whichever object oriented program or any programming language if you take, you know, they will have this specific data type, which means the format. Okay, so by looking at this, you can say that this is a text, right? This is not a number, this is text. So which means that account name is a text field. Okay, so so account name is going to be of data type text. Okay, so let me go show you. So the board number name, right? So that is okay. I think, let me go to account and show you. Yeah, I was showing you. So yeah, so under account you have name. Okay, so this is going to be of the text name data type, which means that it's it is basically in text format. Okay, so this is something that is be provided by Salesforce, so it has something like name data type. Okay, we will not be able to create with name data type. So here, if you take to create any new field, so these are all the available data types that you can select from. So if at all, imagine this particular field is going to be in text format, so I need to choose text. Okay, so this is account type. So if you click this, you're going to get the drop down list box. Okay, so this is another type. So here, if you see, you can enter any details if you want, but this is not this way. Okay, it has the drop down list box where you will be able to select one particular value. Okay, so for that thing, you need to select this pick list data type. Okay, so that you can enter what are also. Now I select this pick list, and now I want something like an account type. So type details. Okay, or type info. Okay, type info. So I have something like this, and this is the place where I can enter this value. Okay, so if you see, you have like different pick list values here, right? So I can enter this value in this way. So the thing that you need to follow is, first you enter something and do not put comma. Okay, so first one line, one value, and next, imagine for this, I would have entered like federal agency, right? Federal agency. Okay, so this is how you need to enter and click on save. Okay. Yeah. So this is something that you will like come across in Salesforce. Okay. So the next value is going to be neighborhood contact. So that's how you type and bring that thing here. Okay. So neighborhood, uh, neighborhood agency. Okay. So that's how you type this one, this value. Okay, and the one which you see here, so I entered something in different format, right? Like Adidas agency, imagine. Okay, so if I tick this option, okay, so whichever order I enter in, it's going to take and display it in a alphabetical order. Okay, which means that it's going to be sorted in a to Z manner. Okay, so imagine A is going to be displayed in the first, C second, and after C, E, F, G. So federal neighbor. So imagine I'm going to have something like box agency, okay, or ban agency. Okay, so if I don't click on this, it's going to show up in the order which I have entered here. Okay. So if I click this, it's automatically going to sort in a way uh, in alphabetical order. Okay. So if at all, if you choose this one, the one which I enter in the first place. Okay. So that's going to be displayed automatically. So if I go to accounts, okay. So if I go to accounts and click on new, imagine this account type is automatically going to have city agency filled in. Okay, so as soon as I click on you, it's going to be visible to you in this way. Okay, it's not going to show you none. So that's the option that Salesforce provides you. So if at all, if you're going to uncheck this, it's going to show with none only. Okay, so this is one of the options. So it's going to show none only. Okay, and this is something that you need to provide. So for example, yesterday I showed you one tool, right? Data loader. So using that tool, you will be able to load the data inside Salesforce. So you will be able to import a data sheet or Excel sheet into Salesforce as records. Okay, as Salesforce records under that particular object. So if at all, if you have a data sheet, if you have an Excel sheet with account records, okay, so you will be loading that under that specific account object, and you'll be loading those records. Okay, so if at all, if imagine uh okay, you have this okay, so I have this type. Okay, so this is pick list value. So currently only these values are under pick list fields. Okay, this pick list field. So if at all I have another sheet in Excel sheet, and my client is giving values that are not here. Okay, so imagine is giving something like commercial. Okay, he's giving some value with commercial for account type. So that value, so if at all, if I, click this option, which means that the record with the value commercial is not going to go into the system because I have selected this option. So I have restricted, which means that any value that is coming outside of Salesforce. So whatever values is present in this existing values, okay, under this field, the pick list field, only if the record has that value, I'll be able to load that data. If at all, if I'm going to have some record with the value commercial, it's going to throw me error saying, hey, it's not, the value is not defined in the value set. So if I take this off, I can load the data with commercial as well. Okay, so that's the meaning. Okay, so I'll also be able to load the data with that value. Okay, so mostly it depends on your client. So your client might say, I don't want any external data to be messed up with the currently existing values. Okay, so if at all, if he says something like that, you can click this option. Otherwise you can uncheck this because you're the one who's going to load the data, right? So you can have that in place. But again, that also depends, like this is not only like you can load the data or something, it's also related to the external third party tool. So if at all, if you have connected any external third party tool to your system, okay, so is to your Salesforce system, if at all, if the third party tool is going to send you values that are not currently in the structure, okay, so then if you select this option, it's not going to send you. It's going to throw error. Okay. Otherwise, it's going to have. So that's the use of this particular checkbox. And this is the field name. As I already told you, this is the API name or field name. Okay. So as I already told you, field label, it can be with the same name, like even 10 field labels can be with the same name, but it should have different field name. I mean, it can be same with field label, but the field name should be different. Okay, so this is called something unique. And description, if at all, if you want to have some description about this particular field, okay, why this field was created and who asked to create you that field and what is the purpose of that field, something you can have it in description. Because imagine you're going to work for a company and probably like after 2 or 3 years, imagine you have built this objects and fields and you're going to go away from the company and another person is coming into play and he will be confused why this field was created, what's the purpose of this field, right? So that's when you have to place something in description so that uh, the people who will be working in future, it will be easy for them. Okay, so they will not struggle. Okay, and also help text is something that you can have it in place in Salesforce. Okay, so for example, you wanted to have a brief description or brief lines about this account type. Okay, so you can have something typed here so that it's going to be displayed here, like you're going to have something called I. Okay, so once you hover on this, you will be able to do so. Similarly, you can see here, right? So once you click on this I, it's going to show what does that setting do, what does that setting impact. Okay, so that's one of the things that you need to take into consideration. Okay, so if at all, if you wanted to have something in this way, okay, I button, and once you hover on this, you will get some details, right? So if at all, if you want something like that, you can have something placed in help text. Okay, and also if you click on this, this field is by default going to be a required field, which means that, so this is a required field. Okay, it has that red star, which means it's a required field, and without which if you don't fill this field, right, like if you don't input any value into this field, you will not be able to save this record basically. So that's something called as required field. Okay, so always require a value in the field in order to save a record. So once you click this one, the user will not be able to uh, save a record without filling this particular field. Okay, without inputting this particular field, he will not be able to save it. So if at all, if you're not going to have this, he can save that record without having filled this field with any of its input. Okay, so that's the meaning of this, and this is something that you need to give for all the thing, because when I teach you about report, I can tell you why this option is held. Okay, so once you create this field, you need to have some particular place where you can you if at all if you wanted to use this particular field in report level, you need to click this one ticked, okay, which means that this particular field can be used in reports also. Okay, so that's one of the thing, and this is something called as formula field. So you can also have this value pre-populate, like not pre-populated, you can set it in the background. Okay, so imagine I want something like profile created date to be displayed in the type info. Okay, imagine this is a type info date. Okay, so I can have something like this. Okay, so I can have this and I can use this like check syntax. Okay, so yeah, the formula result is date time incompatible the expected data type. So this is something called as number, right? So I wanted something in number. I took in text. Okay, so I'm just going to take as name. Okay, so the type info, so I have no syntax error, and I'm going to click on next, which means that if I have this formula field, if I have this formula filled, okay, which means that the value is automatically going to populate for this field. Okay, so this is the page where you set the field level security. Okay, field level security is something that you can set. So for example, imagine I belong to sales, I'm a sales manager. Okay, so I should be able to see objects that are corresponding to sales. Okay, which means accounts, contacts, opportunities. Okay, I shouldn't see something related to service. Okay, so I shouldn't see something related, I shouldn't see this case object and all. So that is related to customer service team. Okay, so if at all if I wanted to disable this field to customer service people. Okay, so customer support, I'm just going to unclick this so that this field will not be visible to that profile people at any cost. Okay, so it will be corresponding only to this particular person. Okay, so to whichever profile I give access to, only those people under that profile will be able to see this particular field. Okay, so yes, I'm going to click on next, and this is something where you need to clear. So once you create a field, you should be adding to some page layout as well. Okay, so yesterday I think I would have showed you like how to play around with this page layouts. Okay, so if you go to page layouts, you will have this thing. So this is place where you can set the rearranging of the fields. Okay, so I want, but all I want name in the top and account type bottom of the name, and in between account number, and industry and sub industry I need to have it one by one, and type number, of course, logically if you see it should be under account type. So this is all something that you can set it. Okay, so imagine I have something this way and here I have less. So the user says like just make it like commonly, or just make it in a proper way. Okay, so it shouldn't be like uneven. Okay, so this is something that you can save. Okay, so once you do this change, you'll be able to save. And if at all if you wanted to remove, okay, I can teach you when the time comes. Okay, so I like already Alagendri and Kishore, they would have known about this, but yeah, let me not go yeah, teach you in a half-baked way. Let me go in a steady manner. Okay, so yeah, so that's the difference between standard field and custom field. Okay, so standard field is something that it cannot be deleted, as I told you. So standard field is something that is provided by Salesforce guys, and the field that is being created by them. Okay, which means that only they will be having the eligibility to delete or rename or anything, because those are called as standard fields and standard objects. Meanwhile, custom field is something which is being created by us, so we have the privilege to edit that particular customer field, custom field, or we will also be able to delete that custom field. All right. And also we can create any number of custom fields. Okay. Also, when I say any number of custom fields, again, there is one catch. Okay. So if you go to object level and see object limits. Okay. So here you will be able to see how many fields you will be able to create. Okay, so for this object you will be able to create 500 custom fields. Okay, so if at all, if you create like 50 to 100 fields, it's going to show up like the limit. So currently we have created like 41 custom fields. Okay, which is like 8% of 500. Out of 500 we have used 41, which means that we almost have like 460, yeah, 459 fields, custom fields that we can create. So once we create that 461 fields, we are going to be hit with the snag if we wanted to create new custom fields. Okay, so apparently, like, if at all, if your business is too big, then you will be facing this problem. Otherwise, I don't think so you'll be creating like 500 fields in an object. Okay, so that's one of the thing. But in my previous organization, in opportunity object, our client, right, they kind of ran out of this limitations. So what they did was they contacted the Salesforce guys, okay, the Salesforce product team, and they had requested for additional fields. Okay, so what Salesforce did was they kind of provided like 20 to 30 fields to them, and they have charged some amount. So only if you give that amount, they will be providing you some extra thing. So Salesforce is everything like this only. Okay, so whatever limitations you have, with that you will be doing. Otherwise, if you wanted something extra, you can always reach out to Salesforce support team, and they will be there to kind of provide you some extra fields or extra based on the pricing. Okay, so they will have some pricing for that also. So that's one of the thing. And yeah, so yeah, both. So standard field is something, yeah, you will not be having API name, which means that they will be providing that API name by default. But for custom field, you will be having an API name. And always remember that whatever it is, even if it is custom object or custom field, the API name ends with _C. Okay, so this is something that you need to get into your mind, because as soon as you see the API name, you should be in a position to find out if it is a standard object or custom object, or if it is a standard field or custom field. So this is something that you need to uh, make this of. Okay, and also how to rename standard object and standard field, right? So yeah, as I already told you, you can rename a standard object and standard field, but you need to follow these steps. Okay, so you need to go to customize, and you need to search for this tab names. And okay, so if I go to setup and I tab okay, names and labels, yeah, so here you see, right, rename tabs and labels. So this is the place where you can edit your particular standard object name. Okay, so you will not be able to do it in the object level. Okay, so if you see here, you cannot go to account directly. So it is a standard object. Okay, the type is standard object, and you will not be able to get that option to edit it. Okay, so this is the place where you can edit that thing. So imagine I want something like company, so I can have something like this company, and I can click on save. Okay, so yeah, so once I click on refresh, I will be having this page with a new name. Okay, so it might take some time to load, but yeah, of course, once you click on this rename thing, right, so it's going to show up with the name that you have already renamed. So not only the standard tabs, you can also edit the custom tabs as well. Okay, so there's the place. So custom tabs, you will be having that option to edit in the object manager also, but for the standard objects, you will not be having that option in the object manager, but you need to visit this part in order to make changes. Okay, okay, so that's one of the thing that you need to keep in your mind. Okay, and as I already told you, to add a custom field in standard object, right, so this is the path, and whatever it is, so once you go to an object, you will have this fields and relationship thing. So once you click on this, you can click on this new button in order to create a new custom field. Okay, so the one which is being created by you is called as custom field. Okay, so the one which Salesforce by default they provided is called as standard field. Okay, yeah, so this is something and yeah, and Yeah, how to create custom object. uh, Go to object manager. So you have this create option here, right? So once you click on this, you will have like two options available. One is custom object, which is like straightforward. Okay, you can click on this, give the name, give the desired name for that object, and click on save and everything, right? But once you click on this, which means that you're going to load and you're going to create a new object and load the fields under that with a spreadsheet. Okay, so for example, I have this spreadsheet, and my client, they have asked that to create a new object called fun history with all these details. Okay, imagine this is one field, this is one field, this is one field. So if you see this file, right, you can get a gist of it. Like this is in number format, amount requested field is in number format, but this class is in text format. Okay, so this is going to be of data type text, and this is going to be of data type number. Okay, so that's one of the thing that you need to look into. Yeah, so in order to create a new object, you can have this object option. Okay, so once you go to this object manager and click on custom object. Okay, so I'm going to have some new custom object. Okay, new custom object. Okay, new custom object. And yeah, so you can have some description about that new object which you will be creating it. Okay, and so if at all, if it starts with vowel, you can click on this checkbox. Okay, and context sensitive, so this is all something related to help and training window. Okay, so this is called as help and training window. So if at all, if you wanted that, you can have that option here. Or if at all, if you wanted the window using a visual post page. Okay, so visual post page is something uh, that comprises of this apex class and all this coding thing. Okay, so if at all, if you wanted to open this particular object in a visual force page, you can click this option, and then based on the available